In the early 2000s, in the United States, a child named James Leininger began experiencing something that would quietly disturb, confuse, and eventually shock everyone around him. James was not yet 3 years old. He lived a normal life with his parents, Andrea and Bruce Leininger. There was nothing unusual about their home, their routines, or their beliefs. They were not spiritual extremists. They did not believe in reincarnation. In fact, they were skeptical, practical people, grounded in ordinary reality. Everything began with nightmares. James would wake up screaming in the middle of the night after night. Not ordinary child nightmares, but vivid, violent episodes that repeated the same pattern. He would cry out that his plane was on fire. He would say the plane had been hit. He would scream that he could not get out. Sometimes he would kick and brush, reenacting movements as if trapped inside something tight and metallic. At first, his parents assumed it was imagination. Many children have bad dreams, but these dreams did not fade. They intensified, and then James began saying things while awake. He spoke of flying a plane. He said the plane was shot down by the Japanese. He said it crashed into the ocean. He said he died. For a toddler, this was deeply unsettling. James did not speak like a child inventing a story. His language was specific. He used words no one had taught him. He described mechanical details. He named aircraft parts. He spoke with certainty, not fantasy. One day, while playing with toy planes, James became upset when given a toy jet. He said very clearly that he flew propeller planes, not jets. He insisted that jets were wrong. This detail alone made no sense for a child his age. Then he said something even stranger. He said his plane flew off a boat. His father, Bruce, was a former Navy pilot. He knew what that meant. Planes that flew off boats were launched from aircraft carriers. James had never been taught this. No one had explained carrier-based aviation to him. The nightmares continued. James began naming things. He said the name of his plane was Corsair. Bruce froze when he heard this. The VOTF for you Corsair was a real World War II fighter plane, used extensively in the Pacific Theater. It was not a commonly known aircraft to children, and certainly not to a 2-year-old. James also said the name of the boat he flew from. He said it was called the Natomer. Bruce researched this name. He discovered that the USS Natomer Bay was a real escort aircraft carrier used during World War II in the Pacific. It had participated in major battles against Japan. This was no longer coincidence. James also named a friend. He said there was another pilot named Jack. Later research would reveal that a pilot named Jack Larson had indeed served on the USS Natomer Bay and was still alive at the time James was a child. The most disturbing detail came next. James said he had been shot down by the Japanese at a place called Iwo Jima. Iwo Jima was the site of one of the bloodiest battles of World War II. On March 3, 1945, a pilot from the USS Natoma Bay was shot down during an attack on Japanese positions. His plane crashed into the ocean. He did not survive. His name was James Huston Jr. The similarities were impossible to ignore. James Leininger shared not only the first name, but the memories, the fear, the death itself. James Huston Jr. had flown a Corsair. He had taken off from an aircraft carrier. He had been shot down by Japanese anti-aircraft fire. He had died near Iwo Jima. The child James described the crash with chilling clarity. He said the plane was hit in the engine. He said it caught fire. He said it spiraled down into the water. These details matched official military records. His parents were shaken. They did not want to believe in reincarnation. They searched for alternative explanations. They considered coincidence. They considered subconscious learning. They reviewed every book, every TV program, every museum visit. None explained the depth and accuracy of the information. Eventually, the case reached Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist and researcher at the University of Virginia. Dr. Stevenson had spent decades studying children who claimed to remember previous lives. He had documented over 2,500 cases worldwide. He examined James's statements carefully. He compared what James said with historical records. He noted that many of James's statements were made before his parents confirmed their accuracy, ruling out suggestion or coaching. Dr. Stevenson concluded that the case was one of the strongest examples of a child with memories of a previous life. James also displayed emotional memories. He showed intense fear of drowning. He reacted strongly to images of burning planes. He did not react this way to other dangers. As James grew older, the nightmares slowly faded. By the age of 5 or 6, the memories became less vivid. This pattern matched many other documented cases, where children gradually lose previous life memories as their current identity becomes dominant. James eventually met the family of James Huston Jr. The meeting was emotional. Details James shared were confirmed by Huston's sister. Personal facts, not publicly available, were matched with James's statements. For the Leininger family, the experience changed everything. They did not claim to fully understand what happened. They did not become religious zealots. They simply acknowledged that something extraordinary had occurred. This case remains one of the most thoroughly investigated reincarnation cases in modern history. It raises questions science has not yet answered. How could a child know these details? How could emotional trauma carry across lives? Is memory bound to the brain? or something deeper, no matter the explanation. The story of James Leininger stands as a quiet, chilling reminder that human consciousness may not end as cleanly as we assume, and sometimes the past refuses to stay silent,